And you see, to get down to this vortex, there was only one way that I could possibly see. There was a second way, but not to be done lightly with a sphere afterwards. We could have jumped down. Not the best idea, that. No idea what would happen when we would crash into said vortex. Could be torn apart. But Steve had a plan. And he had this strange, unique power where he altered the physical manifestation of the astral plane with a clash of his symbols. I was caught off guard. I did not expect this. Why should I? Every clash of his symbols together, something changed within the world we were in. We had steps leading down, we had more planetoid objects floating across the sky, if you could call it sky. The plane itself shifted and changed. The physical manifestation of what it was did not stay put. Steve caught me off guard. But more than that, one other thing did occur. The vortex. It flashed, and flashed, and flashed, and flashed, and flashed again. Every clash of his symbols caused it to flash, and sparks flew off, fireballs and lightning bolts. Why is it that all this magical nonsense has to occur like this? I don't know, it just makes no sense. But I am going to just go with this and tell you what happened. Well, you see, by the time we managed to reach the vortex, a large, circular, about the size of a large man, could fit through. So it was quite easy for myself to fit through, and Steve as well. What was on the other side? I did not know. But it was my only way out at the time. So, me and Steve, we jumped through. We somehow managed to survive and get through, yes. Upon reaching the other side, I crashed back first into a large dining table. When I pulled myself up, I was surrounded by members of the table, members of a court. Many people were there. But I knew the time and the era. I knew where I was. It was King Henry VIII. How I got there, somehow. Steve's clashing of symbols managed to rip time apart as well, whilst we were in the astral plane, and break its grasp on reality, allowing for time travel, something that many people refute being able to exist and occur. But I managed to travel through time. Now, the king himself was there. He looked at me, I looked at him. Everyone else was looking at me and Steve, because he was there too. They thought I was a witch. And you know what they do to the witches? They burn them. But I wasn't going to let that happen. No. I was not going to let that happen and ruin a chance of a good story for you all to hear. So what did I do? I ran. Or at least I was going to, before my senses came completely and utterly tingling with sensation for some reason. And I knew why when I laid my eyes upon it. The throne. The king's throne. Now when you say the throne, you have to be really careful about what it is. The throne could be a seat that any king could sit on. It could be a chair and a table, not just a throne that he sits upon when doing his royal duties. But I'm talking about in the courtroom, the king's court itself. This huge throne for the man to sit upon. When I saw that throne, I had not had the chance to partake of antique delectables of furniture for very, very months. Before I ran, I leapt from the table straight to the throne, and somehow I managed to not only pick the throne up, but I'll tell you this. At one point during my travels, I had acquired a magical bag that allowed me to fit anything in it, reducing its weight, of course. It was quite simple. I don't know how it worked, and quite frankly, I'm not even sure how I got that again. But it was useful from time to time. Not that I used it much. And so, after slipping the throne into the bag, I grabbed Steve, and we ran from the hall. We ran with guards chasing us, and men with large swords and weapons and torches. They were going to burn us for being witches. Wouldn't have that. So, we kept running. We ran, and we ran, and we ran. We managed to get past the larder as well. I stopped in there, quickly. There was a rather large amount of fruit within that room. Apparently, it had been procured by the king from Zanzibar. Such exotic fruit, I was going to have to try skewering that to something and tasting it at some point. Rather exotic fruit needs to be... what's the word? It needs a good aging, like a good wine, after being skewered, and I would need to test its flavor. Now you see, we ran and we kept running, and of course, I even fought a few of the men off single-handedly. Not too many though, just maybe 3 or 4 at once. I'll have you know I'm quite particular with my swords, and quite good at that too. Now you see, Steve couldn't do much else except clash his cymbals, which of course made the ringing of the ears for some of them, although at one point I remember him smashing the cymbals into one man's head on one either side. That was a rather funny experience to see the man shaking for about 5 seconds afterwards. But we ran, and we kept running, and we ran some more, until we managed to escape the castle. Of course, it was a difficult task, getting back to this time. But that is a tale for another time. Perhaps next year I'll tell you that one. Because right now, I do believe it's time for someone else to step up. And not just anyone, but Sir Dinkly Harrisburg Morningchowder, Spitune Polisher to the High Bishop of Laughterdale. Now, I have told you all a story of how I managed to hire a deaf and blind bard, to power a spelljammer that took us to the astral plane, where I then broke time's grasp and stole the throne from King Henry VIII, and then procured his fruit, which he himself procured from Zanzibar. I have done that. Now I wish to hear the tale from you, Sir Dinkly Harrisburg, of how you traversed the Pacific Ocean on a raft made of the hair of blonde virgins, where upon arriving at your destination in America, you partook in a drinking game between yourself, a giant, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and the devil himself. From which you then found yourself in purgatory to recover the soul of King George the Sixth.